If you're a big swim team and you like to order a lot of gear, maybe you ought to check out Swim Outlet Team Division for these reasons. Swim teams receive a 10% discount on bulk orders. Swim teams or organizations get an 8% commission on referred sales. You'll also like their customization services, which is affordable and available at all times during the year for all team gear. With over 50,000 items in stock, you can get most anything you want. Swim Outlet Team Division. You need to try it out. You'll be glad you did.
This is race day for the FINA World Championship sponsored by Speedo. I'm your host, Tiffany Elias. Now we've reached the halfway point of the meet, and yesterday's session was a tough one to follow with one smashing world record and two others within tenths of a second. But the swimmers still put on a solid performance tonight. Let's bring in Jeff Commings, who's live from the pool deck in Barcelona to recap and analyze the semifinal and final events tonight. Hey Jeff, 4 days down, how are you feeling?
I'm doing great. We're at the halfway point. It's all downhill from here.
All right, well, the night kicked off with two sprint semifinals. Up first was the men's 100 freestyle, and Team USA came out guns blazing to take the first two seeds in tomorrow's final. Nathan Adrian on top with the 47.9, followed by Jimmy Fegan. But also in the mix, James Magnuson and Vlad Morozov. It's a stacked heat, Jeff. Although Adrian's a top seed, is there any update on his illness that we talked about the last few days?
Oh yeah, this morning he said pretty much he's over it. I don't know if it was really an illness, and he said in the prelims that it was really a lot. People were building it up a lot more than it was. Yeah, he probably got a little bug, but he's over it. He had a couple of days to rest, and I'm sure that made a world of difference. And I saw it tonight. I mean, his 47.9 tonight looked much easier than the 47.9 he did on the relay. So I think that bodes well for tomorrow. But he's going to have to really ramp it up because, you know, we saw James Magnuson go 47.7 this morning, and then he went 48.2 tonight. So I know those two are going to be battling it out. I really hope Vlad Morozov didn't lose his taper from World University Games, because I think everybody's been looking forward to see what he could do against the entire world.
Right, that's going to be a fast one, and it's funny how everybody kind of runs with the illnesses, and the swimmers end up saying, oh, it's not that big of a deal. But moving on to the ladies 50 backstroke semi, Fu Yahui of China will take the middle lane tomorrow, and Rachel Bootsma of Team USA will also be in the top 8. Jeff, no Missy Franklin in this event.
Yeah, she scratched the 50 back semis to focus on the 200 free. The 50 back semis were 15 minutes before the 200 freestyle, and I think she and Todd Schmitz and Dave Salo, the head coach, had just kind of realized that maybe Missy was not going to challenge for medal, which is odd because she won the bronze in 2011 in the 50 backstroke. But obviously the 200 freestyle final was much more important. The 50 backstroke, not an Olympic event, so probably not really as important to a lot of people, but very important to Rachel Bootsma. She can be up there for a medal. I think she just really needs to swim her own race and not worry about those others that are going to be around her.
Yeah, excited to see what Bootsma can do, and after seeing what Franklin does in the 200 freestyle later, I think that was probably the best decision. But let's move on to our first final of the night. It was the men's 200 fly. Chad Clos does it again, but in a much slower time than what he went to beat Michael Phelps in London, 154.3, and Tyler Clary 7th, 156. Jeff, were you expecting faster swims here tonight?
I didn't think Chad was going to go 150.53. When Michael Phelps this is our first race without 200 fly without Michael Phelps since 2000, not counting the 2005 World Championships, which he sat out the 200 fly. So, you know, everybody's kind of wondering how fast the rest of the world's going to be. Chad could go 153. He probably would have gone 153, but I think he was just racing with the field tonight and just playing on his strengths of being able to close. And it was a little bit close. Pavel Korzeniowski, who actually won that 200 fly world title, was really pushing Chad that third 50, and I think it was a lot closer than Chad wanted to be, but we all know that Chad can close. I mean, look what he did at the Olympics. So it was, it was a little bit slower than maybe it should have been, but, a win's a win.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to now the 200 backstroke for at least Tyler Clary in that heat. And we talked about him yesterday a little bit, just the recovery time. Did he look like the normal Tyler Clary in that race, or can we expect more from him in the 200 backstroke?
Well, he's been having some issues with that 200 butterfly. He's never been able to succeed at the international level. At the Olympics, he was 5th. He didn't make the final of the 200 fly in 2011. And I don't know, that 200 fly is a tough thing to train for. And in the off Olympic years, if you're not at your best, that 200 fly can be brutal. Chad probably felt the same way. He's a second off his time, but good enough to win. But on the flip side of that is Tom Lutchinger, who had a great swim for fifth. That really says a lot about where he's going in the world, and we need to be keeping our eyes out on him.
All right, well, Missy Franklin took the stage next in the women's 200 freestyle. Head-to-head with Federica Pellegrini and Camille Muffat. Franklin gets the win, 154.8. Now, Jeff, Missy had her work cut out for her going against those two in this heat.
Well, she actually was just battling Camille Muffat for about 175 meters because Federica Pellegrini was so out of the race. At the 150, I was like, oh, well, Federica's not going to get her triple. Yeah, she just came on like a freight train, and the problem is, somebody was making fun of me that I was commenting like Rowdy Gaines, is Missy breezed to her right, and Federica was on her left. So I don't know if she even knew she was there, but, Missy's a racer, and she probably sensed that Federica was there, and I'm sure Todd Schmitz, her coach, was going nuts in the stands like everybody else was, because I don't think Missy knew she was there.
Yeah, well, that'll be interesting to talk to her later on in this meet to find out if she did know that, because if she didn't, then that was a not lucky swim, but it could have played out a little bit differently.
Well, I think it was lucky because, maybe 5 more meters and Federica probably would have won.
All right, well, the third final of the night was the men's 50 breaststroke. Cameron Vanderburg just missed his own world record by 1/10 of a second. Now, Jeff, after the way the men have been swimming so far in this meet, is it fair to say this is one of the few events where we could have possibly seen a world record for the men?
I really thought it was going to happen, after seeing him be so close in the prelims and the semifinals, but it just didn't pan out. That 50 breast is so hard to do 3 times. If you're going all out the first time and then you think you're trying to swim easier, it looked like Cameron was trying to swim faster, easier in the semifinals, and he went just a tad slower. And so tonight, I think he just went all out, and he just barely went
Couple
100s
100s
faster. So yeah, it's barely went faster. So I gives him motivation for the 2015 Worlds. I don't know if he'll be coming to Pan Pacs probably. I think there's a 50 breast now on the Pan Pacs, so maybe we'll see him do it next year.
Yeah, nonetheless, a fun event. All right, well, up next was the women's 200 fly semifinal, and I actually thought this was a pretty entertaining event. Maria Belmonte Garcia, the silver medalist from London, will take lane 4 tomorrow. And it's going to be interesting with her Camille Adams, Katinka Hosu, Lou Ziggy. Jeff, what are your predictions on the ladies' side tomorrow?
I don't know. Everybody kind of holding back a little bit. Only 206 in the semis, and it's really kind of bunched up. I think this is going to be a very close race. I think we got the defending world champion Jialu Yang in there, the world record holder Liu Zhiga, Katinka Hosu, who's having a great meet aside from not making the 200 free final, and then Camille Adams doing very well. Maria Belmonte is going to have the crowd pulling her through all 4 of those links, so that's 5 swimmers. And with no one really making a statement in the semis, I can't really tell, but Jialu Yang won the Olympic gold medal last year. Maria Belmonte almost won the gold medal, so I think Maria probably wants it a little bit more. She knows that the Olympic gold medal was in her grasp, and I think she really wants it tomorrow night.
Yeah, I agree. I think this is an open event, so it really could go any direction tomorrow. It's going to be a fun one to watch.
Yep. Well, you're a 200 flyer, so I know it's going to be fun for you.
Well, and obviously that's one reason, but building up to the Olympics, I remember the 200 fly was one of our events where we just said it's weak, it's not where it needs to be, especially compared to the backstroke. So I'm glad to see a little bit more competition on the ladies' side this year.
Right.
All right, well, the last semifinal of the night was the men's 200 IM. Ryan Lochte must have wanted that top seed because he's going to be leading going into the finals tomorrow, 157.0, but followed very closely by Kazuki Hajino and Lazo Che. Unfortunately, Connor Dwyer didn't make the top 8 after an impressive 200 freestyle yesterday. Now, Jeff, how much effort do you think Ryan put into his swim tonight?
Oh, he'll probably say it was 60%, and I think it was probably less. He started his warm down the last 10 meters of that freestyle. Really, and the crowd noticed it too. They were kind of like, oh my gosh, you better really pick it up here. Laszlo Che might catch you. But it's so weird. I was commenting on this during my live observations. Is I don't know how people like Ryan Lochte can know how fast they're going, because the first semifinal were a bunch of 158s, and if you were anywhere in that 158 range, you could be on the bubble of making that final, and that's something that Ryan obviously knew he had to go 157. I don't know how he knew that what he was doing was a 157. I mean, it's amazing. That's something that can't be taught. I mean, you just have to kind of just feel it and know it. So he knew what he was doing, and maybe he didn't necessarily want to be the top seed, but he just wanted to get into the final safely and not really have to worry about anything.
Yeah, I have no idea, and I think even if we asked him, I'm not sure he'd tell us, because that's not really a secret that you want people to know, is how you know where you're at. But either way, he made it in top seed, and it's going to be a fun one to watch tomorrow.
Yeah, I think he's going to go guns a-blazing tomorrow. He's disappointed about not winning a medal in the 200 free. He's disappointed about not winning the 400 free relay. So he's got a lot to prove, and it's so weird that he can't win a medal in the 200 free. He's got a big battle in the 200 back, and it's like 200 IM where he really will have no peer probably from now until Rio. Now that Michael Phelps is gone, it's just so interesting. I mean, I think Kosuke Agino is going to be close to him, but not as close, because Kosuke hasn't been having the kind of meet I think we all thought he would after what he's been doing all year. So, it's going to be Ryan Lochte, and I think he's going to put on a show. I don't think he's going to be like, well, I'm a body length ahead with 25 left, I'm going to shut it down. I think he wants to put up a good time, and, he probably is, I would imagine, trying to break his world record.
All right, well, I think the men's side of the competition needs that, so I hope he is able to do that for the men. All right, well, last event of the night was, I'd say, one of the most anticipated events, the men's 800 freestyle final. Sun Yang, the favorite to win, does so, but well off world record pace, 7:41. Michael McBroom with the second place finish in front of Ryan Cochran and Connor Yeager. Jeff, what was more surprising, Sun Yang not being faster or Michael McBroom getting second?
After some thought, I think it's probably a tie for both, because it was just so surprising to see that Sun Yang was hanging with the field for 700 meters. And I don't know if that was a plan or if he was really going the pace. That was the pace he could only go today. He couldn't go any faster. And maybe I was telling a Chinese reporter earlier, maybe he's just saving up all of his energy for the 1500. I mean, going 2 800s in 2 days can be pretty tough, and he's got the 1500 in final in 3 days. So I think he just probably was just doing enough to win, and or he may have been putting it all out there. But then there's Michael McBroom, who's making his first international final and then wins his first major international medal. I mean, the guy was 7th in the Olympic trials in the 1500 freestyle last year, and now he's 2nd in the world in the 800, and with an American record. I mean, that's just an amazing turnaround. And so kudos to him and the folks down there at Texas for really making this a breakout year for him.
Yeah, that was a great swim for him, and I'd say he's going to be another proponent of adding the 800 to that London schedule. Awesome swim for Michael. Yep. All right, well, day 5 will be a busy one. On the women's side, we have the semifinals for the 100 freestyle and 200 breaststroke, and the final heats for the 200 fly, 50 back, and the 4x200 freestyle relay. The men will face the semis for the 200 breaststroke and 200 backstroke, and finals for the 200 IM and 100 freestyle. Jeff, what are you looking forward to most tomorrow?
The men's 100 free. It's the banner event. I mean, what more can you say? You got the reigning Olympic champion. You got the defending world champion going at it. You got the upstart Russian who wants to be on top, and a whole bunch of others who are going to really do well. I think also the men's 200 IM. I'm really interested to see who gets 2nd and 3rd. It's always been a battle for 3rd after Phelps and Lochte for the past 3 years. So. It'll be very interesting to see, I guess more than 3 years between Phelps and Lochte, but it'll just be interesting to see how that race shakes out. I think everybody has been like, now that Phelps is retired, maybe I could get 2nd or 3rd, and I think it's going to be fun to see that.
It will be fun. All right, Jeff, well, appreciate your analysis, and thanks for joining us. We'll see you again tomorrow after day 5.
Looking forward to it. Thanks, Tiffany.
All right, well, make sure to go to the event landing page on swimminggold.tv for all coverage of the World Championships, including results, analysis, interviews, and much more. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter for the breaking news, quickest news. I'm Tiffany Elias, and we'll see you tomorrow.